Welcome back, Gingies, to a new video, a video that a lot of you have been asking about, and that is an aim guide. As you know, I'm a pretty decent aimer, if I do say so myself. Me, brother, you and me.
Three watching. One pit, one actual long. My god, bro.
I'm not gonna flex on you the whole time. I want to show you how you can learn how to aim like this, and that's what I'm gonna do this video. So let's get right into it, shall we? TikTok! What the fuck are you doing? You haven't subscribed yet? The video's loading. Go do it now. And don't forget to leave a like. Alright. Looks like my time is up. The video has loaded. Enjoy. To make this video a little bit easier for you Gingies to understand, I'm going to separate the video in a few different parts. The first part of this video is going to be about hand versus arm aiming. This part of the video is really essential to understanding aiming. The second part of the video, I'm gonna show you how you can find your perfect sensitivity, and after that I'm gonna be talking about the rule of 3. And lastly, in this video I'm going to show you how you can practice your aim and how you can warm up. And if these sound similar to you, warming up and practicing, that probably already means that you're doing something wrong, because these are not the same thing. During this whole video I'll be using a hand cam. Hello there. This way you can observe my movement, you can see what I'm doing with my mouse, with my hand, and it will be easier for me to explain things to you, and it will be easier for you to understand. So the first thing I want to talk about is hand versus arm aiming. There's two different ways that you can aim in a game, because this doesn't only apply to CS, this applies to every game that you play. Alright, so here's the difference between an arm and a hand aimer, explained pretty easily. A hand aimer uses his hand to aim and can do micro adjustments. An arm aimer is somebody that uses his whole arm to aim and he can do macro adjustments. Now you might say, but certified, do you want me to be an arm or a hand aimer? Well, this all comes down to personal preference. The way I like to aim though is with my arm, and I would recommend you trying this out as well, even though it's still personal preference. If you haven't tried out arm aiming, I really recommend that you try it out. The reason I prefer using my arm to aim is because, for example, let's say this bud, I would never be able to micro adjust there. As you can see, this is the farthest I can go with my hand. But if I was using my arm, I would be easily able to adjust to the bot and flick to him and kill him. Also, the reason I prefer arm aiming more is because you can do micro adjustments, you can flick very far, but you can also do micro and flick like really close. You can kind of do a combo of both. A small tip I would like to add to this is, as you can see, my mousepad isn't horizontal, it's vertically, and this is because of the reasons that my desk is pretty small. So if I would put it horizontal, it would take up a lot of space. It's easier when it's vertical, and it's just easier for me to use my way of aiming, use my arm aim. Hopefully that kind of explains the difference between hand and arm aiming. It's pretty easy to understand. Hand aiming, micro adjustments; arm aiming, macro adjustments, big movements. And if you choose to learn how to aim with your arm, you can kind of learn a combo in between and do big adjustments and small adjustments. Let's move on to finding your perfect sensitivity. So what you want to do is head over to play. You want to go to practice, competitive, turn on infinite ammo, infinite warm-up. And you can do this on every map, but I know a really good spot on Dust, so I prefer using Dust. So I'd recommend you choose Dust as well, just so you can follow the video. And then you just click start, pretty easy. Then you want to go and head over to an open space. I like going to this place because there's a lot of space where you can do this. Back in the day, we used to do this with like just drawing a head on the wall and just like tracking this. But I have a little bit of a better way to do this. So the first thing you want to do is, because commands are pretty stupid in CS2, is turn on SC cheats, make sure it's on true. Then you want to type bot stop 1, bot freeze true. You want to add a bot to CT, and then you want to place the bot here. Alright, so now that we got the bot placed, I'm doing this on 400 DPI and sensitivity 2 because, well, this is the perfect sensitivity and DPI for me. And the first thing I would recommend is trying to do a 180. It might actually be a weird coincidence that this works for me, but I always use the sensitivity where I can do a 180 with. So starting with looking at the bot, I do a 180, a 180 again, and I will perfectly end up on the bot's head again. Try to find the sensitivity where you're almost able to do this or where you're able to do this, and then we'll get to perfecting the sensitivity a little bit more with the next step. So the next step is the step where, well, you draw the head on the wall, which I used to do, but now you can just do it with a bot, and that's tracking the bot's head, which is the reason I chose a place like this, because there's a lot of space where you can do this. So you can go all the way to the back and you can track it from far away, and you can go close again, start tracking it from close, going far away again like this. Like, you have a lot of place to track it, and you will need to try and keep your crosshair perfectly on the head of the bot. That's how you track your sensitivity. See if it's too high or too low. How do you know if it's too high or too low? Well, if your sensitivity is too high, you will be over flicking the bot a lot. It will be really hard to stay on the head, and you'll go past it a lot, and you'll be over flicking it a lot. So if that happens, lower your sensitivity. Let's say it's really hard to catch up with the bot, and like when you start getting closer, you're already too far away, and your sensitivity is too slow, then you need to higher your sensitivity. With these two tips, it will be very easy for you to find your perfect sensitivity and to figure out what sensitivity you need to use. And if you found your perfect sensitivity, well, then it will be pretty easy to just track the bot the whole time, you know, and keep your crosshair perfectly on top of his head. Like this. That's how you find your perfect sensitivity. Alright, so now I want to talk about the rule of 3. The rule of 3 has 3 trees. I know that sounds so stupid. So the first 3 stands for 3 days, the second 3 stands for 3 weeks, and the third 3 stands for 3 months. Basically, when you choose a sensitivity, when you change your settings, when you do stuff like that, you have to keep this rule in mind. It takes 3 days to start getting used to your new sensitivity, your new settings. It takes 3 weeks to get good at it, to really get a grasp of it, and it takes 3 months to master it. So if you're gonna change your settings, your sensitivity, it's gonna at least take 3 days to get kind of used to it. So the first 3 days, your aim will vary a lot. Some games will be very good, some games will be very bad, but don't change it every time you have a bad game, because it takes at least 3 days to get used to it. I have a whole mentality video on my channel as well. You should check that out as well, because it goes in depth on how you can keep a good mentality and how you can start with a new mentality with new settings and how you can get used to them. But when choosing a sensitivity, make sure to keep the rule of 3 in mind, and don't change your sensitivity every time you have a bad game or you have a bad aiming moment or something like that. You have to stay consistent and practice with the sensitivity, or it's not gonna work for you. Alright, now that we're back in the CS hub, I want to talk about practicing and warming up. But first, it's important to understand what the difference is between those two. It's fairly easy to understand. Just compare practicing and warming up in CS to practicing and warming up in the gym. Let's say you go to the gym and you want to start your exercises. Basically what you will do is just warm up your muscles a little bit so you can get into the exercises. That's basically what you do in CS as well. You warm up your muscles, make sure they're active, and then you get into your game. So basically what warming up is just activating the skill that you have so that you can use that in game. So that does mean that warming up doesn't improve your skill. If you want to improve your skill, you need to practice. When you're practicing in the gym and you're improving your muscles and you're doing your exercise and you start to feel tired, then you keep going, so your muscles get stronger and your muscles improve. That's basically what you have to do in CS as well. Let's say you deathmatch for an hour in CS and your aim starts to slow down, you start to miss shots, you start to whiff sprays. That's when you need to keep going, and that's how you improve your aim. You push forward. When your aim starts to slow down, you keep going and you improve on it. That's the difference between practicing and warming up. Warming up is just simply activating the skill that you have so you can get into the game, and practicing is improving on the skill that you already have. That does mean that you can use the same routine though for both warming up and practicing, but when you're practicing you'll just do it for longer. So now let me show you how I practice, how I warm up. So of course, like I mentioned in the beginning of the video, we're going to be using CS Hub a lot because I really like this map and I think it just has everything that I wanted to have. So the first thing you want to do is turn around and you will see this big ass panel. You want to shoot the rush button and turn down the bots to 8. As you can see at the bottom of the screen there's a little scoreboard. When you shoot the bots and they reach you, it resets back to 0 and you can see there's 8 bots. So basically what you want to do here is just try to get 100. You can choose in between tapping and spraying a little bit, like just try both, you know, warm up both. Alright, as you can see, we got best 122. I just reached 122, and that's basically all I do here. The reason I like doing this is because it gets my aim warm. The reason I chose 100 is because this is the bare minimum I set for myself. If I'm not able to reach 100, I won't play a game. I have to reach 100, and that way I know my aim is warm and I'm ready to get into a game. As some of you might know, I am an AWPer, and this way you can't really warm up your AWPing. So I will show you how I warm up AWPing. So you just turn back to the wall, you shoot the AWP. I always get a deagle as well, so I can warm up my deagle a little bit as well. And then you just have these bots standing around. What I like doing is just hitting flicks, no scopes, just normal flicks. Just warming up a little bit like this, you know. We can get some deags in there. And I do this until I get the feeling that I'm warm. You kind of have to feel it yourself. But yeah, this is what I do. So this is basically how I warm up my AWPing, how I practice my AWPing. I just practice flicking a lot because I know that's really important when I'm AWPing, that I am able to hit my flicks. I also get my deagle in there, and sometimes I just like doing this with AK as well. You can practice your spray transfer a little bit like this. This is kind of how I warm up before I get into a game. Something that you could add to this routine, and this is actually a really good method to practice, is Cybershock. If you haven't heard about Cybershock yet, I talk about Cybershock a lot in my videos because they have really good servers. They have retake servers, they have 5v5 servers, B-Hop servers, AWP servers, deathmatch servers, and there's a ton of good players on these servers, so it's a really good way to practice. There have been times where I didn't feel good in my aim and my aim didn't feel consistent, so I would just stream like 2 or 3 hours of that matching on a server like this. I'll show you how you can join a server. So basically you just go to a server you like, you click the copy, your server address has been copied, then you go back to your CS, you open your console, you paste the connect button, and you join the server. It's basically just a deathmatch server, but the players are really good. Most players are really good. As you can see, I have like 10k points. And it's really good for practicing. It's also really good for warming up, but if I want to practice, I usually just go for like fucking 3 or 4 hours on these servers and I train my aiming. So if you want to practice your aiming, this is a really good way to do it. The last thing I want to talk about in this video is that don't think that CS is only about aim. There's so much important stuff in CS. The game isn't solely based on aim. Even if you're the best aimer in the world, you're gonna lose a ton of gunfights if you're not able to read the enemy, if you're not able to position yourself good, and all of that stuff. It's fine.
Just wait, Toron, just wait. Yellow, which one? Sorry, it's cooking.
Where the fuck is this guy? Oh.
Wait. Oh, no, 20 seconds.
I am the best player in the fucking world,
You
bro.
sexy bitch.
So I would really recommend you check out my other guides. Like I have a movement guide, I have a guide about mentality, I have a ton of tips on my channel, so I would really recommend you just check out all the other videos as well, so you kind of get a whole like collective of things that you can do and that will help you improve your skill. Alright Gingies, this is going to be it for the aim guide. If you have any further questions, you can ask them down below in the comments, or you can send me a DM on Discord. I will try my best to help you. If you have any recommendations on guides that you want to see next, maybe something I haven't talked about yet, or a map guide that you want to see, leave them down in the comments as well. And that's going to be everything for this video. I am still a little bit sick, so it took a fucking long time to record this shit. So don't forget to leave a like, subscribe, and I will see you Gingies in the next one. Peace.